everyone. Welcome again to Pilates during this quarantine. I want you to start by focusing in on breathing. So you're going to inhale in through your nose and then exhale out through your mouth, and imagine that you're fogging up a mirror as you exhale. So, and really let that exhale go as long as you can, and then take a nice cleansing breath. Inhale through your nose and then exhale. So as you're doing this and settling into that deep breathing, I'm going to give you a little anatomy lesson on the lungs. So during this time, there's been a lot of videos and a lot of talk about the importance of breathing. And it is really important to note where your lungs are located in your body. And if we don't take a look at that, we don't really have an awareness. Just kind of like anything, if we don't really see something on the inside and take a look, then we don't really learn really where things are located. Like fixing a car. So I'm gonna zoom in here, zoom myself in. So the anatomy of the lungs in the ribs, this is the front view. So if you notice, there's a lot of other organs right here. So the lungs in the front don't really move a whole lot, although we think about our lungs being in the front of our bodies. In reality, they are very much in the back of our bodies, in the back of our rib cage. So there's a lot of space back here, and imagining while we're gonna bring awareness more to the Pilates style breathing in a moment, as you just continue to inhale and exhale and listen, I want you to think about expanding your ribs in the back of your rib cage to fill the air all the way to the bottom of the lungs with air. So this is certainly not going to prevent you from getting the virus, but it is going to prepare your lungs for, if you have the virus, if they're going to be able to function more at full capacity. And it is important, as you continue through this time, to practice this back lateral, so back sideways breathing. This is the key. Think about where your lungs are in your body. So just a little lesson. I'm going to set this down. And we're going to, in fact, do just that. So you're breathing and relaxing. Now take your hand and place it just below your rib cage area, your chest area. And then place your other hand on your belly. So this part is going to help you to push the air into the back of the lungs, or the back of the rib cage, filling the air filling the lungs with air. So use this as feedback. Try not to push against your hands as you do this. Take an inhale and try to resist pushing, and then on the exhale, and you can kind of see from here, inhale, you can see my elbows kind of going out. That means I'm expanding through my ribs. And then imagining, so continue doing this, inhale, ribs splay out and behind you, and then exhale, bring them together. So I'm going to turn around, continue doing so. I'm just going to kind of show you what your lungs are doing in the back while you're doing this. So you're inhaling, and your lungs are filling up with air here. And then on the exhale, you're releasing all of the carbon dioxide. So inhale, Bring in the oxygen. Really think of filling the lower lobes of the lungs. And on the exhale, reversing that and releasing all the carbon dioxide in your lungs. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Continue on. And really feel now what your stomach muscles are doing here. You should feel a little tensing sensation as you try to push the air into the back side of your rib cage. And that is what Pilates style breathing and what you should strive for during all the exercises that we do. This is tricky, but it also, as you get used to the exercises, you can add this back lateral breathing. But first, most importantly, is always just to remember to breathe with movement. All right. So going on to that, we're going to get on our knees and then the backs of our legs. We're going to stretch out the tops of the ankles a little bit. And then your arms, we're going to practice more of that back lateral breathing. Your arms are going to stretch out, so like in yoga, this is called a child's pose. And we're going to use our thighs as feedback for our belly. So instead of our hands being here, you're going to lower it down. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can always sit in a chair and then come down like this. The important thing is we want to expose the area of our lungs where we have the most to fill, the most capacity to fill. So, right here, doing the inhale, sniff through the nose, and exhale like you're fogging up a mirror. Think about keeping your abdominal muscles in and up and away from your thighs here. Let's do 3 breath cycles. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Open those lungs up for air, and then exhale. Release all the carbon dioxide. Inhale. Open up the ribs, and exhale. Last one here. And exhale. Now you're going to walk your hands to the right. If you're sitting, just bring your hands over to the, or to the left, sorry. Just bring your hands over to the left to open up the right side of your ribs. So I'm going to turn around just so that you can see a little better. So now we're focusing on getting more air to this side of the lungs. 3 breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. Keep pushing your abdominal muscles away from your thighs. You should feel a nice long stretch through the torso here. Last breath in. And exhale. And then switch to the left side. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Last time, inhale. Keep your belly in. And exhale. Drop it further back. Nice job. Walk your hands forward again. You're going to come up to your hands and knees. If you have any wrist issues, you can make a fist here, or you can always go down like this. Any position is fine. While you're here, make sure that let's get centered, make sure that the shoulder is in line with your wrist, and your knee is in line with your hips. So nothing like this, or like this, or like this. All right. From here, I want you to find your neutral spine. So notice how I like to do this, which puts a lot of stress on your back. So really think about knitting your rib cage, the front And think about that back lateral breathing and how your stomach muscles are in and nice and tight. From here, you're going to bring your shoulder blades away from you. And then you're going to bring your shoulder blades to you. So really the movement, if this is a little challenging, you're going to keep your elbows straight and think about just moving from your ribs. So chest goes down, shoulder blades go together. Chest goes up towards the ceiling, shoulder blades separate. Getting some mobility in your shoulders without moving through the arms. It is isolating your shoulder blades. This can be tricky if you haven't done it before. So think about dropping your chest down and then lifting it back up. And keeping your stomach in, pressing away from the floor. Keep going. Let me get a better angle. I'm going to turn this way. That's probably better. All right. Now find that neutral spine again. So keep the rib cage knitted and aiming towards your pelvis or your hip bones. Get your shoulder blades now in a neutral position, so not too squished towards each other and not too far away. A nice in between here. Bend your elbows and lock your elbows in towards you. You should start to feel an activation of these muscles here when you do that. From here, we're going to do some pelvic tilts. We're going to release the spine and it stretches up towards the ceiling. Take a nice deep breath here. Again, pushing your stomach muscles away from the floor. Opening up the lungs to full capacity and then exhale. Coming back in. Let's do 3 more here. Inhale. Expand the ribs, filling the lungs, and then exhale, coming back to neutral. Inhale. Expand the ribs, filling up the lungs, and then coming back to neutral. So now we're going to take this further, and we're going to do what's called cat-cow, I think in yoga. You're going to look up towards the ceiling, arching the back, not into any pain though, and then coming into a full flexion. So, exhale, inhale, stretch it up, exhale. Again, if your wrists start to hurt, right here is perfectly fine. And if you have any knee pain, you can place a pillow underneath your knees, or you can put your hands against the wall in standing. Last one here. Exhale and inhale. Fill the air. Now going back to that neutral spine, so wherever you are, knit your rib cage. Ribs are aiming down in towards the pelvis. We're going to start stretching the arm out. So one arm at a time. You're going to inhale, stretch out one arm, keeping everything else stable. Exhale it back. Inhale. Exhale. Continue doing this, and I'll talk you through it. As you reach your arm out, everything else kind of forces your body to stay in a place. So all you're doing an opposite and equal amount of resistance in your torso. As you lift your arm out, everything else is solid and scooping the abdominal muscles in and up. So really focus on keeping everything else stable. And this can be a very challenging exercise if you really focus in on movement is only coming from the arm. And don't forget to breathe here. Let's do 2 more times. Arm goes out and comes back in. And last one, arm out and come back in. Now let's take a moment and relax our our wrists. So shake them out. Then we're going to do some wrist circles. So wrists come up, out, down, and in. Try to focus on just isolating your wrists, all those joints in your wrists. This is tricky. My forearms want to start moving with it. Try to fight that without tensing up. And let's reverse. Out, up, in, and down. And keep those shoulders away from your ears. And just focus on the wrists. Nicely done. We're going to go back to the hands and knees position. We're going to move one leg out and then back in. Wherever you are, find your neutral position in your arm position that is most comfortable to you. Knit your rib cage. Stretching one leg out. So as you do this, I want you to think about lengthening the leg straight out, not up, because we're then compressing our rib cage and our back, our vertebrae there. Keeping, again, same concept as the arms. Stretching out, keeping all of this solid and isolating the hip in the hip socket. Switch sides. And this is a little more tricky because that pelvis needs to stay stable. And isolating this hip in the hip socket, in the pelvis, is quite a challenge, but it is an essential concept to Pilates. Exhale. Lengthen. Inhale. Back down. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. And try not to arch through your back. Check in with that from time to time. As your body fatigues or gets used to a pattern, we start to get into our old habits, as I am demonstrating so well. Stomach in nice and tight. Lengthen out the leg. All right. Let's shake it out again. We're going to add the arm with the opposite leg. If one of these is already challenging for you, go back to just raising the arms or raising the leg one at a time. But if you'd like a little more challenge, here we go. Find your neutral again. Engage your core. Draw the belly button in and up before moving the arm in the opposite leg. Slow and controlled movements. If at any time you start to notice that you're rotating through the hip, adjust and continue. Or adjust and reset and do the movement over again. You may not be able to reach out as far. This is fine. The focus is keeping this engaged and without losing it while moving the arm and the opposite leg. So if you can only just lift it here, awesome. You do not need to lengthen the arm all the way out and the leg all the way out in the opposite direction. The key here is quality versus quantity. And again, I'm showing you what not to do. Keep your rib cage in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Go as far as you can go without letting go of the ribs and that core. So keep those that rib cage knit and abdominal muscles drawn in and up towards the ceiling. Keep lengthening through the spine. You should start to feel quite warm at this point through the inside out. And go ahead and rest. Let's shake out the wrists. And then let's stretch the wrists. So you're gonna put your hand here, shoulders down, so stop in the name of love. And then bring your fingers back towards you, trying to keep length through the spine. No matter what position you are in. So sitting cross-legged, where we are here on your knees, or standing up, or sitting. And then flip that arm down, the wrist down, excuse me, the fingers pointing down. And you should feel a nice little stretch through here. Keep the shoulders down. And keep lengthening through your spine. And switch sides. Fingers pointing up. Try to get that palm as parallel to the wall as you can, or your iPad or phone or computer. Then flip down. And again, try to get this parallel with the surface in front of you. And keep your shoulders away from your ears, lengthening through the spine. Back of head lengthens up as your pelvis works in opposition to press down. So we're not compressing in the spine at all. All right, we're gonna go to a side lying position. Can't let you get away with not doing those clamshells. All right, if you have a pillow, go ahead and place it right here. That's nice to keep you nice and aligned and not straining your neck. Find your neutral spine here, lifting the left side of your waistline up towards the ceiling. So don't let it sink. This is key to working your core and aligning the body properly. Feet stacked, knees stacked, hips are stacked, so make sure they're not rotating. So hip bones are pointing towards your computer or wall in front of you. And you're lengthening through your spine. Back of head, lengthening up. And pelvis, lengthening out this way. So you have that opposition. Scooping your abdominal muscles in first, then move. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Show us your pearl. That's all for today. Last two here. And last one. Now we're going to go into a little bit of activating our lats. This area right here that we stretched out in the beginning. In this isometric contraction exercise. So Elbow straight down, aligned with the shoulder. You can use your lovely video in front of you to align yourself, lengthening the top of your head out towards the wall, and then keeping that waistline up. Think about pressing your elbow down towards your hip, or if you need another visual, like you're squeezing a tennis ball in between the back of the armpit and the side of the body. So I'm going to switch to go behind to show you. So this is an exercise in and of itself. So you're really imagining you're squeezing a tennis ball here to activate these muscles, which depress the shoulder and help oppose the upper trap muscles. And hold there, and then release. Again, let's do 3 more. Here, lift the waistline, stomach in nice and tight, lengthening through your spine. Now squeeze that imaginary tennis ball. And relax. 2 more times. Press down, lengthen, squeeze, and relax. And last one, press down, lengthen, squeeze that tennis ball. If this already feels like enough work for you, just do about 3 more. If you're ready for more of a challenge, go ahead and go into a modified side plank using that concept. Squeezing that tennis ball and lengthening through the spine. Let's hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come down. We'll do 1 more here, and then we're going to add the clamshell. And come on up, lengthen, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come down. Let's shake it out a little bit. Let's lift the shoulders up towards our ears, and then bring it down. Lift them up, and bring it down, and then shake the wrists. All right, so if you are already feeling enough and you haven't been doing the planks, leave it here, squeeze that tennis ball. So we're gonna add this position, adding clamshells. So here is good. If you want more of a challenge, coming up, lengthen, and then let's go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, and come down. Nicely done. Let's switch sides. elbow in line with the shoulder. Imagine that you're squeezing that tennis ball behind the back of the armpit and the side of the body behind you. There you go. And squeeze that tennis ball and then relax. Doing this exercise really helps re-educate those muscles that get really, really tight and overused in all of us, especially when there's stress. And using your hand, again, to go to those muscles that you want to be using is a good way to let the brain acknowledge that those muscles do exist. And these are not the only things that need to work all the time. All right, and relax. Let's shake it out a little bit. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears and bring it back down. And lift them up and bring it back down. Now, again, if this is already hard work, stay here. Awesome, I like it. If you need more of a challenge, let's go for 3 times in this side plank position. Lifting from the pelvis up. Hold there. And bring it back down. And again, squeeze here. Squeeze that tennis ball and lift up that waistline. Lengthen through your spine. And coming back down. Last time here, lift up that waistline. Breathe. And coming back down. Let's shake it out again. Roll those shoulders back. Up, back, and down. Ready to add the clamshells wherever you're at. If this position is good, stay here. Lift and lower. Lifting up here. If you want more of a challenge, 6 times. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And come down. And let's take 3 cleansing breaths. Inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. I'm going to shut off my alarm. That tells me we've already met the half-hour mark. That's where people stop paying attention a little bit. So we're going to do just a couple more exercises today, working the ankles, kind of circling the ankles like we do the wrists, and then working our core and our glutes, and then we will be done. So coming to your floor here, finding a neutral spine, so back of head, rib cage area, and then tailbone. Finding the house for your mouse, hello, here. Making sure your ribs are funneling down towards the pelvis here. If you need a pillow to help facilitate that, by all means go ahead. This is something that I work on constantly, and it does help to have a pillow so it forces your ribs down a little bit. So take an inhale here and lengthen through your spine, creating all the space through the vertebrae. And exhale. Let's do that back lateral breathing again. So now we're laying directly on where our lungs like to open up the most. So feeling the feedback of the floor. Inhale. Try to press your lungs down and out against the floor. And exhale. It's a little tougher in this position. That is why if you are sick, if you have any kind of upper respiratory issues, laying on your back isn't the best thing to get air through your lungs. So really laying on your side is a good way. You know, if you're comfortable laying on your back, fine, but make sure you're laying on your sides and trying to open up your airways the most, filling the air up in the lungs the most. You know, try to always encourage that that breathing and the increasing lung capacity no matter what from time to time during the day. So lengthening through the spine again, keeping your ribs funneling down towards the pelvis. We're going to lift the whole torso up as one unit, really working the butt and the gut here, and bring it down. Tailbone is the first thing to come down. We're not rolling through the spine. Keep this tight. Lift and lower. Let's do 8 more. 8, 7, exhale, inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Let's hold it up. Hold here. Keep thinking about the ribs going down in line with the hip bones. Squeeze your tush. Squeeze the cheeks together. And then relax the tush. And then squeeze it again. And relax. You should be feeling a lot of your hamstrings activating here. And relax. Now bring your tailbone down first. Awesome. Last exercise of the day. Lift your leg up. We're going to go circling our ankle, isolating just the ankle. And breathing with this motion. And switch directions. These mobility exercises that we do are so important to do daily. It is not often that we move our joints in this isolated way. Switch sides. So it's so important. These can be done daily. The wrist circles, the ankle circles, moving flexing and pointing your feet, even wrists flexing and pointing, stretching your forearms, and switch directions. So important for increasing the proprioception in that joint, improving blood flow and circulation. And it helps your brain acknowledge that that joint exists and that it should be moving in an appropriate manner. But only you can tell your body how to move. So, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next Thursday. Stay healthy, everybody.